Welcome, Fine and Country Real Estate Academy, especially designed as one-stop shop in providing practical real estate training in all relevant areas. So our facilitator for the day, Mrs. Udo Okonjo, our CEO, should be coming up now to welcome everyone officially to our program today, Sell Like a Champion. Welcome, Mrs. Udo. Good to have you here.
It's amazing to be here. Thank you, Lanre. Great job. What I'd like to do now, we were going to do slightly earlier, is bring on Mrs. Toke Benson Awoyinka, and then we'll come back to our power duo, into the masterclass. So, Mrs. Toke, take a few minutes and talk to us.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good morning, all. I'm glad I'm here today. I'm glad this talk show is actually on today. It's a very, very tragic day for us in Lagos, and the people are crying. I know it's also going to be a very difficult day for developers in Lagos. It's something that happened that would affect and shape the real estate sector in Lagos. We've tried to do a lot. When Mr. Governor, the present administration, started off in 2019, we looked at our laws. By the way, let me introduce myself. I just jumped in. I'm the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on housing, and I'm also doubling as the CEO of the agency, the Real Estate Regulatory Agency in Lagos State. And what my job is to regulate the industry, sanitize the industry, bring in a more transparent market, make it easy for funding, both local and international sector practitioners, especially some work in real estate. And I'm glad that she had me come in today, of all days, in Lagos. So I'll go straight to it. So when we came into government in 2019, we looked at our laws and we thought we needed to do something with what was going on in the airspace. Lagos is a major construction yard as we speak. And unfortunately, one of the most strategic structures just came crumbling down yesterday. A 21-story building in Hybro Ikoyi. A lot of questions have been asked. If you ask me if I know that developer, I will tell you no. The government has gone on advocacy and telling people, we need to know who you are. We need to know what you're doing. We need to know who your subscribers are. We need that data. That data is not just for us as a government. It's also for the people. When we have your data, we can know what you're doing. We can plan around your developments. So we have a 21-story building, and I think there's 3 of those structures there. What are the efforts that are being made by that developer on sewage, on water, on all other infrastructure that should be available there? I know questions are flying, what is the job of government? Government is supposed to be doing this. Government is supposed to be doing that. And I tell people it's a two-way street. If I, as government, fail in my duties, what about the developers? What about the practitioners? What about the people? So when we try to regulate, we're seen to be high-handed. And I think going forward, everybody would understand why government needs to be high-handed, because lives are affected, livelihoods are affected, people are affected. We do not even know the number of dead people on that site as we speak. We know that, or we're guessing that the developer, the owner of the structure, was actually, or is actually in the rubble. Passerbys are there, workers are there, off-takers are there. Something like that should not happen in the 21st century Lagos. So I'll go straight into what we do as an agency and what the Lagos State government is trying to do. So we have this agency called the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Agency. We're supposed to sanitize the industry. We're supposed to gather data in the industry. We're supposed to create an enabling environment for people to work. We're supposed to know who the practitioners are. We need to know who the agents are, who the developers are. We want to know who the off-takers are. As we speak, as a government, we do not know who the subscribers to that edifice are. Because now, if we say the developer is no more and his management staff is probably under that rubble with him as well, we have little or no information as to what was going there. And I think that is bad for us as a government. So I would expect that everybody here who is a practitioner in Lagos should endeavor to now be an advocate of government and preaching what we have as a government have been trying to do. So my job is to sanitize the industry. My job is to register all real estate practitioners in the state, property developers, real estate marketers, real estate brokers, property management companies, facility managers, as long as you're in the value chain of real estate. And it's a huge, huge market out there where we know that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of artisans working there. We don't even have the data of the people under that rubble. And it breaks my heart that people would see us as failing, but I would say the people have helped us fail because the people have frowned at regulations. I remember when we came on board and we introduced LASRERA, we got a lot of pushback from even professional bodies, and I'm going to make bold to say it here, National Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. We had a pushback. They wanted to be the ones in charge of regulating the industry, and we said, no, we're going to take our place as government. We're going to make sure we push for the reforms, and we're going to make sure that we do everything to protect everyone in the value chain, the industry players, the people who are off-taking as well. We need to protect them. So we're coming up with a number of things because we have a technical committee that has been set up by the governor to look into these things. So apart from us regulating the industry and making sure that things are going on fine, we also want to take hold of how we protect people's funds. So I'm going to always make reference to that building that came down. People have put in a lot of money in there. Financial institutions have put in a lot of money in there. I'm sure we cannot account for all those money. So part of the proposals we're bringing on board is to have escrow accounts managing property development. So if I'm proposing to buy fine and country homes, every dime that I pay to that developer for that project must go into an escrow account, looked into by the property, the banks or the financial institution of that developer. Money is released on timeline basis so that people do not lose money, people do not lose their livelihood. We need to protect the funds of people moving forward. Apart from that, we're talking about insurance. I can almost tell you that developer did not have insurance on that place. So yes, you can say it's the fault of government. At the same time, I'd ask why the practitioners are not asking questions. So I've been watching TV this morning. People have indicted all professional associations. Where are the engineers? Where are the architects? Where are the builders? We even see a letter flying around social media where the engineering consultant took himself out of the project since last year. And then we begin to ask ourselves questions. Yes, people are the ones buying from these developers. How come they're not asking these questions that are now being brought to the table? So those are the regulations that we're going to be looking at now and pushing forward. I think we're probably going to send our bill back to the House of Assembly to put in more stringent measures on developments and developers and generally practitioners in the industry. So we have two bills that we have introduced. That's the Real Estate Regulatory Authority law and the foreclosure law for mortgages. So why people might ask, the foreclosure law is in favor of the developers and the financial institutions. Yes, but people have also complained that our tenancy law is also in favor of the off-takers. So we try to have a balance here where people don't have to stay in court for so long to get their properties back when there's default. And that will help us have an influx of funds into the industry, because if you cannot vouch or recover your property when somebody defaults on a property because a developer at the financial institution. So we have that law currently at the House of Assembly. We hope to get the governor's assent to it in the coming weeks. We've done that. We've also done mediation and people. So Lagos is a very peculiar place. It's a state that has the largest population in Nigeria and the smallest land size. I think we have about 3,577 square kilometers. So everybody wants to be here. We don't have that space. That's why you see people dredging and creating new cities on a daily basis. So there's constant demand for real estate in Lagos. Yes, that means the industry is booming. I can also say that throughout the COVID period, Lagos remained that same construction yard. If you go to any developments now, they tell you they're fully sold. That is because everybody is moving down to Lagos. We cannot stop that net migration. It is good for the industry because the value chain also is huge. So people are getting employed, artisans are getting work. The commerce around real estate is actually booming. So what are we doing about it? How do we also bring in financing from the international market? Create an appropriate governance structure. Make sure there are things that we have put in place so that when these off-takers come, they don't lose their monies. The companies also have access to funding. The government creates that enabling environment for people to thrive. That is what we're doing in Lagos. And that is what we will continue to do. But we've had some unscrupulous elements in the industry. We've had developments where people have had a limited number of units and have sold to like 200 times more than the number of units that they have. So we had issues on the mainland in Alakpere and Ketu, where a certain developer built 15 units and sold to about 260 people. And then you wonder how that happened. That will happen because we're not our brother's keepers. Us as government, we've put in the enabling laws, we put in everything that we need to do as a government. But the people will have refused to work with us. The industry practitioners have refused to partner with us because in present day Lagos, we shouldn't have fraud to that extent anymore. So we've done mediations for people. We've recovered over 127 million naira for people. We have about 15 cases in court on behalf of the citizens that we're actually pursuing because we really want that financial transparency. We want that transparency in the market and make Lagos the investment, at least the real estate investment destination in Africa. So we have all these things on ground. We're doing our advocacy. And I'm sure now that everybody in Lagos is hot today. There's flared tempers everywhere. I know professional associations are probably going to be covering their faces now and seeing the reason why they need to partner with government, at least to curb some excesses in the sector. So in conclusion, I'm just going to say that the industry, the market, the state government would further strengthen that transparency and make sure that the laws that we have guiding real estate practice in Lagos are strictly adhered to so that we can stop calamities, we can stop disasters. We can also further increase focus on the real estate industry and make sure that our people or practitioners, brokers, agents, developers, the people, the off-takers, go to bed and know that they have a job to do, they have a home to live in, they have money is coming in different areas because the government has done what it's supposed to do. So Uju, I think I hope that I've captured a few of the things that we're doing in the industry very succinctly. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, you absolutely have. Thank you so much, for sharing that incredible work that you're doing. Absolutely right to say that everyone is hurt today. There's no one that can take the moral high ground on this at the moment. Obviously, a massive amount of responsibility lie on your shoulders and the shoulders of the Lagos state government. And what you said about Lagos being an investment destination, and therefore it's imperative that the government does every single thing that it needs to do and can do and must do to protect everyone, all the stakeholders, the buyers, the investors, the financiers, international investors. How do you attract them if we have a system that is broken? And we recognize as well that you're doing. The jury will be out for a very long time, but in the meantime, it's not about the jury. It's about getting to the bottom of this and preventing it from happening. One life lost is too many lives. Several tens or 100 lives is way, way, way too many. And you raised some very important points. The off-takers, if the management and the developer, they're gone, God forbid, where are the records? How will those people be protected? You talked about insurance. You know, what is the what's you know, what are the questions that investors ask? You know, what are the questions that as professionals we must ask, you know, when representing developments and developers? You know, these are some of the questions that we continue to put out as a company, and I believe that all the professionals here can see, unfortunately, in this tragic incident, you know, the sort of opportunity, the sort of tragic situation that comes up when things are not done properly. So I just want you to know, Mrs. Awoyinka, that the work you're doing, certainly from our perspective, from the perspective of this academy, from the perspective of Fine and Country, and I dare say, from the perspective of every well-meaning professional, it's work that is important. It's important not just for government, it's important for the citizens. Because real estate is a very significant and the biggest asset class, you know, ranging from where people live to where people work and where people are treated, to where people worship. So, you know, how these properties are built matters, how they're managed matters, how they're sold and transacted also matters. So on behalf of everyone here, I'd like to say, you know, thank you for sharing that and well done, but please stay with us a couple minutes, because I think it would be a disservice if we don't allow, you know, participants to ask questions of you or make contributions.